we actually think that we're being very, very eloquent and very philosophical and very deep and very insightful. But we're not. We're not even close to that. When we're angry, we think we're doing the right thing. I've got to put my foot down. Right? But what you're doing, chances are, is not going to be the right thing. Moshe was justifiably angry. And he came to ba lichlal ta'ut. He came to mistakes 3 times. So on one hand, don't beat yourself up if you've gotten angry, because Moshe did too 3 times. But at the same time, to recognize that, and it's a high bar, but to try to get to the point that one is not getting angry. It is counterproductive. We end up hurting ourselves. Very famous teaching from the Steipler Gaon, that back by the plagues of the plagues in Egypt. So the second plague was frogs. So the pasuk says, "Vata'al hatzephardeya," the frog arose. So the simple meaning is like fish, right? Fishes, singular fishes, plural. Tzfardeya there means all the frogs. But the Medrash says that it was one big frog. And they got scared, so they started hitting it. And every time they hit it, more frogs came out until the whole land of Egypt was covered with frogs. So Steipler asks, well, if they saw that the more they hit it, the more frogs that are coming out, what should they do? Stop hitting it. And he says, when we're angry, we do things that are counterproductive. Right? When we're angry, don't speak to me about logic. Right? We short circuit all of that, and we just go ahead and do. And we don't gain anything from that.
And how to explain, like, okay, maybe I think wrong, that God himself often became angry.
Oh, that's an excellent point you're making. Right? Right? So the way that we'll have to understand that is that God will appear to be angry. In other words, we can't do anything to hurt God. We can't do anything to affect God. Right? Everything that God does is for our benefit. Our being created doesn't give God anything, doesn't do anything for God, but it's an act of kindness, benevolence, to allow us creations to connect to God and to get a peace, a connection to that God, to that goodness. So once we recognize that everything God is doing is for us, so then when it says that he got angry, it means that there is this sense of anger as it appears to us, that we need to know that our actions is something that amongst people would cause anger, and therefore we need to step back from it. With God, it's always anthropomorphisms. Anthropomorphism is using a term that doesn't apply in order to allow us to understand it. Right? So anger is severe displeasure. Right? I get angry when I'm very, very displeased, upset about the turn of events. So with God, that's when we say God got angry, it means that your actions or these actions are such that it will cause severe displeasure. And if the whole point of our creation is to connect to God, right? And every mitzvah is a way to connect to God, and every aveirah, every sin is something that causes a distancing between us and God, so then it's going to be couched in those terms that we understand and that we relate to. Right?
So then how come it says Hashem, Hashem? Slow to anger. So yes, very...
It's all anthropomorphisms. It's
But
all
that was
anthropomorphism.
taught by Hashem. So whatever
So there's
Hashem said to
patience.
Moshe
So
to-
there's patience in his reaching that point of severe displeasure. Right? There's patience. There's slowness in reaching the point of that severe displeasure.
If that's a characteristic of Hashem, and we're in B'Tselem Elohim, then it seems like, even though we should really work on it, that it's not completely inappropriate for us to get to a point of this anger.
I don't think we use the term anger over there. Erech Apayim is the term that's used.
And that literally translates as?
How would you literally translate Erech Apayim? Long in his countenance.
Okay, so from Panim. Okay.
Yeah.
The face won't change. The face won't change. Right?
He's patient.
Right.
Patient. Patient.
Yeah.
Face to
Patience. Yeah.
Rabbi,
Yes.
what did, by his forgetting the laws of how to kosher things, was that the mistake he did because
Yeah,
he was
he
angry?
forgot those laws. Because of his anger, he forgot those laws, and Elazar had to step up and teach over there.
So, when it came to Pinchas and Zimri and Cosby, did he also forget something at that time, and that's why Pinchas...
Yes,
what
but
was it he forgot? Or what
the
happened?
halacha that kanoim pogim bo, that the zealot, that zealous people can jump in and stop it.
I knew there was
Yeah,
something he
yeah.
forgot there.
Yeah. Okay, just one last point. Also a beautiful point from Nissen Alpert that I saw. Parsha, we have a double Parsha this week. Mattot and then Massay, which is the end of Massay, which is the end of the last of the Parsha of Bamidbar. Massay means our travels. And we go through 42 of our travel points, right? Through this Midbar, through this wilderness, on our way to Israel. And we count the 42 places. Some of them are places where we acted properly. There are places where we did not act properly. We came to Refidim, it says. Why is it called Refidim? Sharafu Yedeyim in Torah. We kind of turned ourselves away from Hashem. Yet every single one of these is listed over here. And I saw a very, very beautiful teaching. You know, we look on our lives, and we've all made many stops along the way in our lives. Some of them we're very proud of. Some of them we are, let's say, less proud of. The Torah doesn't skip any of these. And we too need to recognize that who we are is the sum total of all of those tachanot, all of those stops, all of those events that we've gone through in our life. And there's what to be gained from every single one of them. From those that we are proud of, those that we are ashamed of, from everything that we do. Life is this course that we go through, and we are the sum total of all of those events. See, here we're coming to the end of the book of Bamidbar. And Bamidbar has been jarring. We've had some great times, and we've had the Meraglim, we've had the spies, and Tisha B'Av is coming up. The same night that we heard the report of the spies and we cried, we don't want to go into Israel. That's the night that we cry about our being forced into exile out of Israel. And we had Korach and his rebellion. It's been bumpy. It's been bumpy. But that's what made us who we are. That's who we are as a nation. That is life. That is the experiences that we have, and that is who and what makes us who we are. So we have to, by the Torah listing every one of these, as we close out Bamidbar, with all of its ups and downs, we need to recognize that we, with all of our ups and downs, that's what has made us who we are, and we need to embrace all of those experiences, those that we learn that we want to try to repeat, those that we learn that we would rather not repeat, but we recognize that that is what has made us who we are as this nation, as individuals, as this nation of the Jewish people, and as we started off saying, right, the power of the Jewish people, the famous pasuk, Hakol Kol Yaakov Vayedayim Yedei Esav. The voice is the voice of Jacob. The hands, those are the hands of Esav. That it's with our higher parts. It's not the stick that we carry, it's the words that we use, and that is what builds, that is what creates, that is what transforms, and we take all of the experiences that we've had and we embrace them and we learn from them and we continue to be better and better, more and more godly people. We'll go here, my friends.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Yasher Koach, everybody. So again, I'm here the next two Tuesdays, the next two Tuesdays, and then I'll be away again.